the Boneshaper. There are so many good jokes here, but I will not succumb. I will resist. I will keep this all above board. Anyways, the Boneshaper is basically a necromancer type of class. She can summon skeletons and wraiths and other stuff like that. And she's got a new kind of summon that isn't a loss, but damages you. And so we're going to talk about how you actually, manage that damage, because she's the squishiest health track. She's on the lowest health track. So at level 1, she only has 6 hit points. And when you're summoning and taking 2 damage each time, it becomes pretty tricky to manage because we have very little self-healing. And so I'm going to talk about, all of that sort of stuff. We're going to go through each card one by one and talk about the different build paths, because there's actually some pretty good different build paths, even within the level 1 cards. So definitely going to talk about that. And then how about the names of these cards? Flow of the Black River, Wrath of the Turned Earth. I'm really impressed with whoever came up with the names for this class. Thematically, the most evocative names that I've seen in Gloomhaven or Frosthaven. Okay, let's get started. Life and Death. Top is one of our 3 shambling skeleton summons, and the skeletons for level 1 are actually pretty decent, especially for a reusable summon. 3 health with 2 move and 2 attack, and then you get an experience every time. It's really quite good. Yeah, once in a while they can even take a hit and live. And then the initiative at 91 is, it's summon initiative. And then the bottom, the next 3 times you suffer damage, don't suffer damage at all. It's actually really good to start off with the bottom of this card and not play it for the skeleton. And here's why. We only have 6 hit points at level 1. And so I'm talking about this class as a level 1 class. I know there's going to be cards later on that can change this, but at level 1, I liked playing this right away so that I could start summoning skeletons right away without taking damage. And then I would have some skeletons out so I could use my Flow of the Black River card top to heal. And I would also be able to move proactively to once in a while tank a hit in the beginning so that I could keep my skeletons alive. Because if you can get a couple of skeletons up and running in the first 2 turns, and you can keep them alive for a little bit, you're going to have a really strong start with this class. Return Servant. Top is another one of our skeletons, and I'm pretty much mostly playing this for the skeleton because I like to play the bottom of Life and Death. But if you don't feel like you have enough movement, you can kind of switch this up. You can hold this card in reserve to use the bottom for its 4 move, because this class has quite low mobility at level 1. To me, you're pretty much always going to need a good set of boots to really make this class work. And if you don't have those, you may actually have to use Return Servant bottom to move, and then use Life and Death for the top for the shambling skeleton. But I generally played it for the top to summon one of the skeletons, and used boots and, some other tricks to move, as efficiently as possible. Like with this class, and it's one of the harder things to manage, you can't waste a move. Damned Horde. Another one of our shambling skeletons. This is the 3rd and last one. I like to play the shambling skeletons as early as possible, and because there's not as much risk attached to them, you can pretty much just unload them, and then if they die, you replay them. Another reason why, I like to take Life and Death to prevent that damage, because if they do start dying, you can resummon them basically right away, and if not, you're going to have to heal up first, and it's going to slow you down a little bit. But let's talk about the bottom. Curse, target 2, range 2. This is a pretty good level 1 card. A spammable curse that can hit 2 different targets and put out 2 curses is actually going to be quite good. And there is a couple different viable build paths, and one of them is using a lot of curses. I like to play for the skeletons. To me, it feels better to really play this as a very summon focused class, and so that's what I mostly did. But I really believe that the curse build path is viable as well. Transfer of Essence. Top is a pretty good card. You're going to be able to strengthen potentially 2 allies at range 3, and then poison 2 enemies potentially at range 3. So decent kind of utility. You do have to consume some elements to make it good though. Initiative again, quite poor at 62. The bottom, heal 5, 1 ally at 3. This is not bad. It's essentially a net heal 3 at range 3. So definitely not bad. But I found that I didn't very often want to play this card because the top required too many elements to really be worth it. And the bottom, the 5 heal is good, but you don't really want to suffer 2 damage. I like to summon the skeletons as much as possible. And, you do have to resummon them sometimes. They do die. And so you kind of want to save your health for those type of things. So I didn't take this card with me very often. Decaying Will. Top is a decent attack because it does poison and it does have a lot of range. So it's going to be useful in those situations where a monster is really far away. And it's our only non-loss earth generator, which is going to be good for stuff like Wrath of the Turned Earth. And then 46 initiative, just not good. And I think we probably need some tweaks on initiative on this class. Even the Spellweaver has Mana Bolt. We need something that's a little bit quicker. So yeah, some initiative tweaks I think are in order. We'll see how it plays out when the class actually comes out. The bottom, I think it's going to be better a little bit later on. I didn't feel like it was worth it to play this loss. It never really, presented itself, let's say. In certain situations, it can be good, though, when you've got, monsters that are retaliating. But I think it's going to be better in, low-mid levels and versus at level 1. Dark Tidings. The top is a loss, but it feels a little bit weak to me. Take Wrath of the Turned Earth top. It's also got +1 damage and it has the potential to poison. And it's not a loss. Now that being said, I've heard that for Frosthaven, curses are considered more powerful, as in the cards are going to be considered more powerful when they have curses because curses are actually really good. That being said, I still don't think it's equal in power to Wrath of the Turned Earth, but in certain situations it can be good, and curses are better for this class than for other classes because it helps keep our summons alive without us doing anything. And so that's really useful for us to keep our summons out and keep our average damage output over, multiple turns up and not have to keep resummoning. And then the bottom of this card, initiative 43. I think my brain is just automatically skipping the initiatives because they're so terrible. The move 4, though, is really useful for this class. So we need this move 4 to just be mobile and make some big moves when we need to. Angry Spirits. Top is an okay summon. It's going to be fairly decent at level 1 when shields are a lot lower, and it can just ping away at range with shield 2. Shield 2 at level 1 is decently powerful. It's going to be able to survive some hits, and the range is going to help keep it out of trouble, but I think it's going to scale quite poorly later on. 1 damage is probably not going to cut it. It does produce Dark, which is nice. Empower Dark. And then the initiative 18 is our fastest at level 1, but the bottom is really good on this card. And so we can move 2, and then we can move one of your summoned allies too, right? And we get to control it, which is really nice. And this combos really nicely with the top of something like Exploding Corpse because it's relatively quick initiative. You can move a shambling skeleton in and then blow it up in a pile of enemies, and it's going to make for a really powerful, late scenario move. But the initiative, and this is what I was talking about, Exploding Corpse, it needs fast initiative for the most part to be able to work, and there's not quite enough initiative that's low. I still think there's probably an opportunity to put in one more card that's maybe 15 initiative or 12 initiative It doesn't have to be Mana Bolt level, but I think we need a little bit more help in going quick. If you're liking the video so far, please go ahead, hit that like button. It really helps me out a lot. And subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that when I publish new content, you're notified. And also, I've done some other Frosthaven class previews. I'm gonna put a link up to a playlist right here so that you can go check out the other videos on the other classes. Fell Remedy. Top is a pretty good repeatable heal. You know, it was nice to play it after I played Malicious Conversion and heal 6 repeatable. You can actually be a pretty good healer with this class. I don't want to say it's strange, but it's a build path that you can look at as being a fairly efficient party healer. Initiative at 21 is pretty quick for us. And then the bottom, this looks like it sucks. It looks like a conditional self-heal at 2. And it is, but it doesn't suck for this class. Because we have so little self-healing, and because we need to keep ourselves topped up to summon and, you know, do other stuff, this card is actually much better than it looks, but just for us. Like, in a vacuum, it looks awful, but I actually found myself using it a decent amount to keep myself topped up so I could just keep pumping those skeletons out. Flow of the Black River. And I don't know why, this one just conjures up images for me. I love the name. I think it's my favorite name of any card in Gloomhaven or Frosthaven, period. And it's our best healing card for ourselves at level 1. Get a couple of skeletons out, and you're looking at 3 heal. I mean, that's 50% of our health at level 1. And so you're definitely going to need this card. Initiative at 27 is, I mean, it's fast for this class. And then the bottom 6 move is going to be really helpful later on in a scenario to get us in the right spot. It also empowers Dark, which is nice. So it's just a good situational late game big move. Command the Wretched. I love cards like this. Great repeatable half, good situational loss. So the top, I mean, pretty straightforward. It's going to allow us to move and reposition and attack with one of our summons. Going to be quite useful. And then initiative at 83, very slow. And then the bottom, attack 5 for a loss is usually not going to be great at level 1, but it's actually great for a couple of reasons. One, it helps output serious damage because it's actually on the bottom. So we're going to allow our skeletons to, say we have 2 skeletons out, they both attack. Then our turn, we play this bottom, and we play Wrath of the Turned Earth as well. I mean, that's a serious amount of damage. That could, you know, be 12, 15, 16, could be like up to 20 damage if you pull a couple of decent modifiers on the skeleton attacks. Because essentially the skeletons get 2 attacks before your turn, then they get a 5 attack, then they both get 3 attack each. And if it's on the same enemy, the second skeleton is attacking a poisoned enemy, so add another damage there. It gets very, very good. So this is actually a great bottom. I used it quite a bit, more than I thought I was going to. Eternal Torment. Top is another ranged attack again that's quite weak, but has good range and is, you know, utility-wise is, you know, pretty useful at times. It does produce Dark each time. Empower Dark. I'm going to teach myself to say empower. 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 All right, moving on. Initiative is what it is. The bottom, one of your summoned allies may loot. This is, I mean, it's looting. It's handy. I didn't use it a ton, though. Malicious Conversion. This is a fun card. I think it's really cool. It's our most powerful attack. And so it's nice for that because when you have 2 skeletons out, you're already attacking 2 and attacking 2 every round plus your action. So adding a 4 attack onto that is actually, you know, better than it would be for other classes. And I just love being able to bring a skeleton back as well. If you've got a skeleton in your discard, you automatically bring it back. This is really good power curve wise. It's essentially like you're playing an extra card for free and you don't suffer the negative effects. So I use this a ton to kill a monster and then bring a skeleton back. Love it. Initiative is pretty decent and it produces Earth and Dark, which is going to set up a bunch of our other stuff. So really good there. And then the bottom, until you do use it, a move 3 with a potential move 5. Pretty good. Willing Sacrifice. Top is a nice, powerful loss, but don't wait until too late to use this. And this advice also applies to curses as well. You want to try and get your curses and your blesses in fairly early so that the monsters actually hit them. So if you do this in the last room, there's a chance the blesses you put into your allies' decks, they won't even hit them. And vice versa for the curses. The monsters, might not even hit them if you put them in too late. I like to do this kind of early mid to mid scenario because you don't want to play the loss too early and affect your longevity. But, if you play it in the second room or something after your first rest cycle, this is going to be a nice, powerful card for you. And if you've got allies that have a bunch of summons, you're going to put out a lot of blesses. It gets pretty fun. And then the bottom, one of your summons can perform a move 3. Just useful for positioning. It's not nearly as good as the bottom of Angry Spirits because you don't get to move yourself and you kind of just sit there, but still pretty useful, and it produces air for whoever needs to use air. Exploding Corpse. This is a great, powerful late scenario move. I got 16 damage with this a couple times, and it was really, really nice. It works a lot better if you've got higher player counts, but still, it's fun to move a skeleton in and just blow them up, and it does a lot of damage, and it produces fire, so, quite strong. Use the bottom of Angry Spirits to just move them in early in a turn and just, nuke everybody. Initiative at 30 is okay. It's good for this class, actually. If you're trying to go fast. The bottom, I didn't love the bottom. It's not bad, but it's kind of a little bit of a problem with this card because you've got a top that you want to play late, and then you've got this bottom that's pretty situational. So you can sometimes use it early, but sometimes it's just going to be a basic move too, and it's pretty easy to hit your allies with this. I probably used it more for the basic action than for the actual action, but it can be useful in some situations. Wrath of the Turned Earth. Yes, love it. It's got a great name, and it's a great card. Double trouble? Double whammy? I don't know. This is a really good card. You are going to do a ton of damage with this card. It's worth 6-7 damage before modifiers. 7 if both skeletons attack the same enemy and poison it, although you're technically wasting one of the poisons in that case. But you play this with the bottom of Wretched Command the Wretched, and do, really good burst damage potential. And then the initiative at 80 is whatever. The bottom of this card's actually really good too, but I really only use the bottom in late scenario situations because the top was so good. I pretty much just played it in the last room if I was like, oh no, my skeletons are about to get nuked, and it was better than, playing the top. Okay, what am I taking? I'm taking Life and Death, Returned Servant, Damned Horde, Dark Tidings, Angry Spirits, Fell Remedy, Flow of the Black River, Command the Wretched, Malicious Conversion, Willing Sacrifice, Exploding Corpse, Wrath of the Turned Earth. What am I leaving behind? Eternal Torment. I focused on summons mainly, not curses. If you like cursing though, you may want to take this card with you. Transfer of Essence. Because Eternal Torment is our other repeatable Dark Creator, along with this bottom, I left it behind. And then Decaying Will. I just couldn't find a spot for this because I was so focused on summoning and repositioning. It could totally fit in another build though, where you curse more and do some more ranged attacking. This is a great class. They have learned so much from Gloomhaven in balancing these classes. I like that it's got a lot of cards to play, but there's some, good losses. And so you're going to be able to play it sort of like a Tinkerer where you don't have to be super conservative on playing your losses. The new summon mechanic is great. I love that you can just summon. It solves a lot of the problems with summons. I'm saying summon too much. I'm going to stop saying summon. They can't. It's all about summons. Okay. But it's a really good mechanic because a lot of the risk goes away versus, you know, the old summons, which are almost always losses. And it's cool that you can just keep bringing these skeletons back. I really like it. I had a lot of fun playing the class. I do think there need to be a few tweaks on initiative because some of the cards you struggle a little bit when you don't have the option to go early and give yourself a good chance. I think there just needs to be one more card that's maybe in 10, 12, 15-ish range, and I think that would help us out a lot. But overall, this class is really fun, and it's actually pretty powerful too. You know, when you can pull out a combo with Wrath of the Turned Earth and Command of the Wretched bottom, something like that, you can really output some serious damage. I had a great time playing the class. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, go ahead, check out in the description. I've got recommended products in there. Clicking on those links helps support my channel, even if you don't buy something, so make sure you go and check it out. And thanks again so much for watching.